The concept of A.Wong has slightly evolved since 2011 when we first opened. I think nowadays in 2024, A.Wong really is our celebration of China more so than a celebration of my favorite dishes from around China. A gastronomy is over 3,000 years old. If they just tweak to one thing every year, by 2024, it's pretty foolproof. Some of these techniques, they really are so unique. As we move forward, I think we're going to see a lot of these techniques being used in wider global cuisine because the mouthfeels and the end products are so special and so unique. One of the most important techniques in Chinese gastronomy, especially for any type of stir frying, is this idea of marination. So we call it velveting, which is basically a form of tenderizing. And it's very, very important that you take a lot of protein through this process in order to give it the correct mouthfeel and the right kind of smoothness in your mouth when you eat a lot of stir fries. So how do you do this marination? So number one, you have the protein here. So we're gonna make a fried rice. So I'm gonna use minced beef. I'm just gonna put some water in. And what you'll see is that from moving the protein and agitating it, it has an incredible ability to absorb water. What am I gonna add now that it's got a little moisture in there, that water can now absorb some of the tenderizers that I'm gonna put in. So I'm gonna put one in, which is bicarbonate of soda. It might seem a bit odd to be putting bicarbonate of soda into your meat, but it's no different to adding lemon juice into marinades. We're gonna now add a few aromatics in. So one is Chinese rice wine, and one is soy sauce. And the other one is, again, it's optional, but we use it in the restaurant. We just put a little bit of what they call OK sauce, which is a barbecue ketchup. And I'll tell you the other thing, we laugh now, the fact that we're using this, but one of the staples in most Chinese kitchens is oyster sauce. And anyone who tells you that they make their own oyster sauce is absolutely lying to you. The area in Guangzhou where they make oyster sauce, life is too short. Literally, you start off with 50 tons of oysters, and the output from 50 tons of oysters is so small that it really isn't worth it. Right, after we've added all those aromatics in, you can see that it's all dry now, so everything has gone into the meat. We're going to add a little bit of potato starch in. And what a potato starch does is basically coats the outside of the protein, so that when you're cooking, that potato starch will basically solidify. So it'll coat the outside of every protein, so that effectively you're not frying, you're basically steaming. And we're just gonna cover it with oil to stop it from drying out. And then we leave this for 2 hours. Afterwards, it's ready to stir fry or to do whatever we need to do, or even to steam. With any wok cookery, the first thing you need to do is you have to season the wok. And what do I mean by season the wok? Is that you get your pan, you put some oil in it, and you make the oil really super hot. After that, you pour the oil out. That wok is now good to go. Now basically the season, what it does is that it stops it from becoming a non-stick pan. So now it's a non-stick pan. So we're gonna get the beef in. You see now it's not sticking to the pan. If you didn't do the seasoning of the wok, everything would stick. It's not cooked. Drain it off. I'm gonna re-season the pan. Then we're gonna start cooking the egg fried rice. Put the egg in. And again, stir frying really isn't just chucking it all in. When you have a good egg fried rice, in China we talk about the egg having like a sunshine to it, and that's because you want it to be yellow. So what that, it gives the rice a smoky flavor. It's really important to keep that, and that's why you can't turn the heat down. You want to keep that smoky flavor. And I like to finish it with a little bit of black pepper and a touch of sesame oil. All of these decisions that go into making something seemingly so simple are very, very thought out and kind of premeditated prior to cooking. And that's what happens when you have a you have a gastronomy that is so old that you iron out all the possible occurrences where things can go wrong or they become inconsistent or they're not quite right. I mean, over thousands of years, you develop ways to make them kind of as foolproof and as delicious as possible. The real important technique is really about the velveting of the meat. It's a universal technique which is really, really central to so many different parts of the Chinese kitchen. The idea of steaming but marinating first is that idea that when you eat it, you don't have to use a spoon. You can pick it up with your chopsticks and the sauce would have clung onto the surface of the protein. And that really is something so magical about this process. I think a dish like this is so important. You know, it's really what cooking is about. And the core of it is what? It's about people coming together and eating a really wholesome, delicious food together, where thousands of years of history have gone into making it what it is. And I think that really is the essence of a fried rice dish. But what it stands for is so much more than just a fried rice dish.